You know that feeling, that specific feeling you get when you walk onto a movie set? Everything is just a little too perfect. The lighting hits the cobblestones just right. The streets wind in a way that feels, I don't know, directed for a camera.
It feels orchestrated, like someone designed it just to make you feel a certain way.
Exactly. But usually when you peek behind the curtain on those places, it's all fake. It's just plywood and plaster.
Right.
Today we're talking about a place that feels like a movie set. Kaleici, the old bazaar of Antalya in Turkey. But the director wasn't a person. It was a mixture of deep history and, surprisingly, mathematics.
It is a really fascinating case study. Because on the surface, Kaleici is just this chaotic, sensory overload of a travel destination.
Right.
You've got Roman walls, Ottoman houses, burnt ice cream, which we definitely have to talk about later, and all these noisy bars.
But underneath all that chaos, there is a hidden code. We're looking at a really interesting piece of research by Hava Özcanan on something called urban morphology.
I mean, it basically gets to the question, why does this messy, unplanned old town feel more neighborly than, say, a perfectly designed modern suburb?
Yeah, is community something you can actually build with a blueprint, or does it need a certain amount of, architectural friction to even spark?
That's the question.
So welcome to the deep dive. We've pulled from travel guides like Tale of Travel and Bizve Yoku, some museum records, and that dense architectural paper on neighborhood connection. We are going to decode the streets of Antalya.
And I think we have to start at the threshold. Because with Kaleici, you don't just drive in. You pass through this very specific, very intimidating portal.
Hadrian's Gate. And portal is not an exaggeration here, is it?
Not at all.
You're standing in modern Antalya, traffic, high-rises, noise, and then you're facing this huge triple-arched marble gateway.
Built in 130 AD to honor the Roman Emperor Hadrian.
130 AD. I mean, it's just hard to wrap your head around that kind of time.
It really sets the stage for what Kaleici is. It's not just old, it's like a layer cake of history.
Okay, yeah.
You've got the Hellenistic roots way down at the bottom. Then the Romans came in and expanded things, the Byzantines after that, and then finally the Ottomans, who really gave it the look we see today.
With the bay windows and the timber roofs hanging over the street.
Exactly.
The travel guides, one of them, Bizve Yoku's, mentioned something I thought was key. They call it a vibe shift compared to other towns on the coast.
Right, because usually these Mediterranean spots like Bodrum or Alisada, they're strictly seasonal.
They boom in the summer and then turn into ghost towns in the winter.
But Kaleici is alive 365 days a year. It's not just a preserved museum. People actually live there.
So you have a souvenir shop next to a hostel, next to a family home, next to a loud jazz bar.
That continuity is so rare.
Yeah.
Usually when a place gets marked as historic, it gets gentrified and all the actual life gets pushed out.
It becomes an open-air museum. Pretty to look at, but totally empty inside.
But Kaleici somehow kept its social heart beating, all the way from the Roman era to now.
Okay, so before we dive into the math of why that social heart works, walk me through the experience. If you're a tourist just dropping into this maze, what hits you first?
According to Tale of Travel, it's the smell. You're in a bizarre atmosphere, so you've got the aroma of dried apricots, huge piles of spices, and Turkish delight lokum stacked up in these pyramids.
It sounds intense.
It is. It's a sensory assault.
Yeah.
You've got hand-woven carpets and kilims draped over the walls, copperwork clanging.
And the sources say, bring cash and bargain.
Oh, you have to. Bargaining is part of the culture. It's not just a transaction. It's like a social dance.
Really?
Yeah, if you just pay the sticker price, you're bypassing the whole interaction. You're ending the conversation before it even starts.
I would be so bad at that. I'd probably pay double just to avoid the awkwardness.
Then you'd be missing half the fun.
Yeah.
But beyond the shopping, you have these landmarks that kind of anchor you in the maze, like the Yivli Minar Mosque.
That's the one with the fluted minaret, right? It almost looks like a bundle of columns.
That's the one. It's become the symbol of the whole city. And right near it is the clock tower.
Oh, I loved this detail from the notes.
The bell, right.
Yeah, the clock mechanism has been replaced over and over, but the bell itself is the oldest original part. It's such a great metaphor for the city.
The machinery changes, but the sound stays the same.
Speaking of things that divide opinion, we have to talk about the burnt ice cream.
Ah, yes. Yemek dondurma.
I read the description like 3 times because I thought it was a typo. It's ice cream made from goat's milk that has been intentionally burnt.
Intentionally. It's a local delicacy. The guide from Bizve Yoku's is pretty funny about it. They basically warn you. It smells like burnt milk, it tastes smoky and sharp, and you might hate it.
That is quite the endorsement.
But you have to try it. It's a flavor you won't find anywhere else. It's thick, almost chewy, and that smoky char really cuts through the sweetness. It is an acquired taste.
I will take your word for it. Now, if I wanted to experience the history without, eating burnt dairy, I'm guessing the Suna and Ankaras Museum is a safer bet.
Much safer. And it's a gem, honestly. It's housed in 2 restored buildings, a 19th century Ottoman mansion and an old Greek Orthodox church.
I saw pictures of this. They use these life-size mannequins to recreate daily life scenes. Usually I find those things a little creepy, but this looked helpful.
It gives it context. It's hard to imagine the bustle when you're in an empty old house. Here they have scenes of a groom getting shaved, women having coffee, street sellers yelling. It grounds the architecture in real human activity.
And that activity doesn't stop at sunset. The nightlife there seems like a huge part of its modern appeal.
It's a study in contrasts. You can spend the day at Murmurly Beach, this tiny little cove tucked behind a cliff that used to be for women only.
Wow.
And then at night, you're walking over ancient cobblestones to get to a jazz club like Holly Stone or an electronica bar.
That contrast electronica blasting against Roman walls is actually the perfect bridge to our deep dive. Because we need to ask, why does this all work?
Right. Why doesn't it just feel like a mess?
Exactly. And why does walking through these chaotic, winding streets feel so good? I think most of us just assume it's nostalgia. We like old things because they're old.
But the research from Haba Özdozan suggests it's not nostalgia, it's geometry.
Okay, the paper's title is a mouthful. Neighborhood Connection Density, Neighborhood Morphology Connection.
It is, but the core question is simple. Does the physical shape of a neighborhood, its morphology, affect how well the neighbors actually know each other?
The author talks about a neighborhood cell. Help me picture that.
Think of it like a biological cell. In these old towns, a cell is a cluster of homes that are all grouped around a nucleus.
And in Kaleici, that nucleus is usually a mosque or a church.
Almost always. It acts like a center of gravity. But here's where it gets really interesting. The researcher wanted to measure something called connection density.
How do you measure a connection with math? I thought connection was about borrowing sugar from your neighbor.
That's the result. But the paper measures the architectural opportunity for that to happen.
So they counted windows and doors.
Basically, yeah. How many doors, gates, and windows face the street? How porous is that boundary between the private house and the public road?
Okay, that makes sense. The more doors opening onto the street, the higher the connection density.
Exactly. It's all about the probability of interaction. And Kaleici is the perfect lab for this because it has 2 totally different architectural styles right next to each other.
Right, the layers. You have the organic texture, which is mostly the Turkish Ottoman area with those winding, messy, dead-end streets. And then you have the grid texture, which is a leftover from the Hellenistic and Roman times.
Much straighter, more planned, more 90-degree angles.
So the study compared them. Now, if I'm a modern urban planner, my money is on the grid. It's organized, it's efficient, it feels safer.
And that is exactly where our modern intuition fails us. The study found that the organic areas, the messy ones, had a significantly higher density of neighborhood connections.